How to build a better product by better understanding customers with Bear Leo. The Strategic Marketing Show is brought to you by Insights for Professionals, providing access to the latest industry insights from trusted brands, all in a customized, tailored experience. Find out more over at insightsforprofessionals.com. Hey, it's David. How much work are you doing to truly understand who your customers are before you build your product and before you produce your content? And how does understanding who your customers actually are impact the quality of your product and ultimately increase the success of your marketing activities? That's what we're going to be covering today with a man who's an award-winning podcaster, a design mentor at Springboard and CareerFoundry, and product designer at Xero. A warm welcome to the Strategic Marketing Show, Bear Leo.
Wow, that's such a great introduction, and I'm thrilled to hear that. Thanks, David, for having me here.
So you can find Bear over at beartalking.com. So, first question, Bear, what do you mean by understanding customers first?
Yeah, this is, I think, as the core for every designer's job description first, to understand customer first. But sometimes it's just as the things we say, but not the things we do for many companies or many organizations, because everyone will say, oh, we value our customer, we should know them. But actually it can really bring some impact on your business if you just walk the walk, not only talk the talk. So that's what I mean. Understand customer should be the first step, or at least should be a very important step of the whole business strategy, or the whole journey of service or of a product. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It should raise up the importance level.
And what form does understanding your customers actually take? So is it about doing something like focus groups? Is it online surveys? Is it looking at what customers are actually doing when they're actively using your website? Is it something else I'm not thinking of?
Yep, that's a good question, David. I think it's for a UX designer or for a product designer. We do have some common best practices for understanding customers by doing quantitative research or qualitative research, which are two ways in general, looking at surveys or data or other metrics as a quantitative research to understand their behavior and the trends. But the other, which actually from my personal opinion is more important way, is the quantitative research, which means by talking to them, by asking why they want to do that rather than this or that. So that's another way to really get the insights about who they are, what they want, and what they want to achieve via using your service or product. And the more we talk with them, the better we understand them, and the better value you can bring via your product or via your service or content. So this is what I mean. Yeah, understand customers by this.
So you're working in an organization with tens, possibly of thousands of customers. Obviously, you can't talk to everyone. How do you select the customers that you want to talk to?
Yeah, that's also a really good question, because it's always important to find the right people that you can talk to. And if you talk to the right people, even with some wrong questions, you can still get the right answer. But yeah, if on the vice versa, if you talk to the wrong people, that's probably even the perfect questions will not give you the insights. And for where I'm working at, we have a resource on recruiting the existing customers. And also, there are a few touch points during their journey on using our products. And sometimes, if you really want to understand a specific step or some parts of their journey, we can reach out during those touch points within the product, which is a really good privilege for us to do that. Not every companies have that privilege to do that. And also, I think it depends on the business decider, their understanding about if it's an important thing, if it's a valuable thing, they should invest time and money and resource on doing that. And so if you have this wish, I think there are always ways to do that. At this stage, I'm probably not going to details how to recruit those customers, those participants for interviews or testings. But I think should have this mindset that if we have better understanding of our customers, we will have better value to bring for our business. And if we shift the mindset to this, there will be always a lot of creative ways to do that, to recruit customers for conversations. Yep.
Yeah, it's a great point that there. You certainly need to identify the right point in the customer journey, the right point where they're actually using your product or service to reach out to them. Because I think we've all had experiences where we've had surveys pop up on websites as soon as we actually visit that website, and it's just close it down. I haven't even started using what you're asking about here, so I'm not able to give you any feedback here. But if you identify the specific, perhaps challenging area, using tracking software to identify, I guess, where people are maybe struggling a little bit with a product, then that would be a good point to perhaps reach out to someone if they're still on a screen for 10 seconds or so, or perhaps not knowing where to go next. Would you also perhaps reach out to people when you've just actually published a new part of the product, so introduced a new element, or is that not so an appropriate point to reach out to people?
That's a good point, David. I think it depends on what you want to know about the customers, and if you want to know the existing customer, their feedback about a new feature. For example, if you build a new feature, a new function on your existing product, and you really want to know if there's any negative or positive feedback for the current customers, and that probably a really good time to reach out immediately after you launch the feature, and have some understanding about what they think, and that can help for improving the onboarding experience for this new feature, for this new function. And if you want to understand the new customers, what they feel about this, so it doesn't matter actually. The timing is not that important compared to existing customers. Back to what you mentioned earlier about the survey, and you mentioned that if I think that's really interesting, because you mentioned that sometimes when you just check a website and there will be a survey pop up to ask you for some input, and we can imagine that the jumping rate or the drop rate is really high because people doesn't get any value from your website yet, and you ask them to give you something as an input. You ask them to invest time to do that. That's actually it's not the right way to do that. And from design perspective, we have something called experience mapping, and by doing that would be map out the customer journey when using a website, for example, and what are those touch points, like if a new customer check your website and do some general search and maybe find their information, and then maybe next step, do some proper research about specific product and then make the order or things like that. So when you map out the whole journey, and then by talking to customers, you can map out the happy moment or the angry moment as a curve flow. And on the top of it, maybe really happy, really exciting. And at the bottom of it, negative, not happy. And as a designer or product people would be good to utilize those happy moments, those emotional high peak of their journey, to nudge them, make some decision like, hey, you just complete this test, congratulations, pop out with a little message. Would you mind to spend 13 seconds for completing this survey to document what do you find about our product and to help us improve? And by doing that, you can expect a better result, a better outcome, rather than just throw things directly to customers, even they are not ready. So this could be something, seems quite simple, but we take things in details to see how the journey looks like, what they feel, and then it can actually improve the performance by with some measurable metrics, with some measurable ways to see the result, the improved before and after result. So this is something I think relevant to this, to understanding your customer is really important.
And talking about simple changes, sometimes a change as simple as altering a phrase within a heading or a subheading or a little piece of content on a page can significantly assist with conversion rates or where a customer has to go next. How do you actually define the changes in content that are required? And is that what you find as well? Do you find that a very simple content change can sometimes have a significant impact?
Yeah, absolutely. Which actually I think it's even a new subject in design and product territory called UX copy or UX writing. And sometimes it's even just some tweaks on the copy can hugely improve the performance. So I can give an example, but probably on a high level.
Yeah, sure. So obviously we're talking about. We know that you're obviously product designer for Xero, and you've had a great positive impact there. So I'm going to guess in terms of that brand, can you think of a high level example of how you've implemented something that's had a significant difference?
Yeah, definitely. I think but maybe as a follow-up from your previous question, like if there's any tweaks, like small tweaks can make some difference, and also with some measurable result. Do have an example that we have some complaints or negative reviews on the App Store on our one of our products, and some of the so every reviews will be recorded and sometimes discussed with the team internally to see why they have this feedback and are there anything we can improve. So we do that on the regular basis, and we even get an automation like for every team members. If there's a review from App Store, we automatically got an email, Slack message, and then we can jump in to discuss if there's something we can do to improve it. Because we do think that any review from App Store or Google Play Store actually means that it's already happened many times, but only a really small amount of customers will leave a review so that will be like the emphasis of one types of the behaviors from customers. So as an example, we received some negative feedback about customers don't understand. They didn't understand the error messages while they're using the app, and some messages are quite generic or like doesn't solving their problem. For example, if you tap to submit a form in the app, and if there's a backend failure or some issues from the service, and customer don't see anything, they see a pop-up module to say, oops, seems something wrong, and try it later, or oops, seems something wrong. So it doesn't solve their problem. And some customers get really angry about that. Like, why you're showing this to me? It doesn't mean anything. So and we do check those reviews and then think, right, is there any information we can help them? Like any specific information we can help them when they see the errors. And then we triage those errors from tech perspective, because some errors that they can do something. Like for customers, they probably can log out and log in and then can solve the problem. And some problems actually they can't do anything, or it might be their problem. For example, it might be the network. It doesn't good, like the connection is not good from their end, and they cannot receive any data. And by doing that, we differentiate those different scenarios and use the copy to specify those are the things you are dealing with and what's the next step action you can do. For example, like some errors, so just let them know. Just try it later, and if you still have problem, there's a link you can tap to go to contact. And for some connection issue, we show them maybe it's your internet connection. So please check your internet connection status, or you can even see the Xero status page to check the different status. Is that connected, or is it blocked, or is it paused, or other different status. And by doing that, we improve the copy, and also checked the after a few weeks to see if there's any improvement on the reviews, on those reviews. And it's dramatically, I think it's double the positive reviews, and and reduce a lot amount of the negative reviews. So this is something like as a high level example, a case study of how we might do that. Yep.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So essentially what you're saying is utilize something like a mind map or a flowchart to identify all the potential negative scenarios that someone may encounter, and to have some kind of solution ready to be presented when someone hits that negative scenario, so it's dealt with correctly, so they feel more positive about your brand because you're dealing with their issues as soon as they occur.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's quite interesting is even there are people, because from our research, we find that even customers don't able to complete their task, but if you give them a specific action or something that as a direction to go, and they'll feel much confidence, or much better. Rather than give them a feedback or a reply message without any useful information, normally they will feel quite frustrated. So yeah, it's quite interesting to have this, because before that we have different mindset or different understanding about the customers, but after that the whole team, not only the designers but the whole team, have a better understanding of at this stage, customer might behave different, and if we can reduce those types of the negative experience scenarios, that will be the best. But if we can't, we can use that to provide some suggestion or directions. But even without a clear solution, that would be better rather than nothing. So hope it makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. A lot more to dive into potentially there, but hopefully we'll have another discussion at some point about that. Well, let's move on from what works now to planning for the future. So, in your opinion, what's the biggest marketing trend or challenge for marketers over the coming year?
Well, that's a really big and hard question. And I think as a as a designer, I don't want to predict what exactly will come to the next year as the future, but there are some things happening, and from my observation, if it's start to happen this year or recent years, it might keep going for the coming years. And I think there are three things. The first thing, what is actually happening, is the AI co-design, or we can say that AI collaborated marketing. And there are a lot of new technology platforms relevant with AI, with artificial intelligence support. So I think that currently is helping design as well, and which is really freak out many designers. But that might get a deeper connection in the coming year, and according to the speed of this domain. I think the current problem maybe is hard to talk to machine directly, which might be a good opportunity for marketing and designer and other professionals to dive in. So AI co-marketing, AI co-design could be one thing. The second thing I think might be the no-code movement can bring us a lot of tools that doesn't need so much investment for marketers or for small business owners to do that. And we used to, if you want to build a business, you need to build a website and maybe hire someone for SEO, for other marketing stuff. And sometimes coding is always inevitable, and you need to find developers to do that or customize your website even so. But now we have many available platforms for people to do specific specific need, fulfill their specific need. For e-commerce website, it's so easy to build a website, build a shop with Shopify or any other things. But now, with no code movement, there are SEO support websites or other types of the website or services that without any coding requirements. So which means that for people without technology background, that could be a really good opportunity to start a business or speed up the business next year. The third thing came to my mind is there might be a new market coming next year, which means that currently Meta is investing so much resource on virtual reality, and Apple is also doing something on the AR, which I think currently our interaction with digital content or digital products is still limited, only with some screens, with mobile device, tablets, or desktops. But with the possible new products on AR and VR, that could be a lot of things for a lot of potential opportunities for marketers, for entrepreneurs, and for content creators to do, because this is a brand new market. It's if it's emerging, and people will have need that they cannot imagine right now. But when they start to use the new product, when they start to use AR and VR, they might have the need, and it will come out. And for marketers, for content creators, for designers, product people, that could be a lot of opportunities. And it might happen next year. I don't know. It depends on those new technologies, how feasible they are next year. But yeah, I have a really optimistic feeling on that, because it might happen next year or the year after. So yeah, let's see. Keen to see what will happen.
Oh, there's so many exciting opportunities coming down the line. It's quite incredible. I remember 20 years ago when I first started getting involved in designing websites and using what was called at the time WYSIWYG editors. So what you see is what you get, and you had the half code view and the half design view. And it realistically back then, the design that you came up with spat out horrible code, duplications all over the place that you really had to go in and manually edit everything. But nowadays, it's so much easier to really not be involved in code. And it's coming down the line where you'll be able to use AI to simply tell them something, tell them what you're looking to do, and it will be able to design something for you. I think one caveat that I would add is marketers traditionally tend to be quite excited by new tactics, new technologies. And I think we should probably refer back to the beginning of the conversation, what we're talking about here in this episode, and really talking to your customers, understanding what your customers want first of all, before getting all excited about what you could potentially do and then coming up with something that isn't key for your target market.
Yeah, that's a really good point, David. That reminded me a story about technology that I read yesterday. It's about a company from the last century, during 60s or during 70s, called IMSI or IMSI. Forgot the pronunciation. That's the first generation of the personal computer, according to the rising of the personal computer. A lot of marketers, actually, they're not computer freak. They're just marketers and entrepreneurs, and find this is a really good opportunity. And then they start to build a product and then try to sell it and try to promote it. And it's going really, at first it was going really good, but then they actually didn't quite understand their customers, because their customers actually are like a power computer users, and they really want to customize their computer and use the latest technology. But that company doesn't follow up their customers' need, and then it's just gone, and nobody remember that company. Everyone just remember Microsoft and IBM or other successful or survived companies. But there are actually a lot of companies just vanished during the history, and even at the beginning of that market rising, they are the superstars, but then nobody remembered it. And I think understanding customers and also your customers value their needs, and try to help them, try to align with them. That might be a really good strategy to live a little bit longer and to survive during the uncertainties of the new norm of the world. So yeah, that could be relevant to the topic we're discussing today.
I've been your host, David Bain. You can find Bear Leo over at beartalking.com. Bear, thanks so much for being on this strategic marketing show.
Thanks for having me, David. It's my honor and really exciting to talk with you.
And thank you for listening. Here at IFP, our goal is simple: to connect you with the most relevant information to help solve your business problems all in one place. InsightsForProfessionals.com.